Most Claude Code tutorials skip the part that actually decides whether your app survives month 2. They show you the shiny feature build. I'm going to show you the boring 38 minutes that happens before any of that. If you've ever shipped a Claude Code project that worked on Tuesday and silently died on Friday at 3 a.m., this is the gap nobody fills. By the end, you'll have the exact 4-file safety net I drop into every client project before I write a single feature. I run 3 production apps from 1 home server. None have gone down silently because of this ritual. Let's start with the file nobody respects. Okay, so picture the situation I see every single week with new clients. Someone vibe codes an app with Claude Code over a weekend. It works. They demo it to their team on Monday. By Thursday, an API key is hard-coded in 3 places. Errors are getting swallowed silently. There's no way to know if the thing is even running. And redeploying means SSHing in and copy-pasting commands they barely remember. By week 3, nobody trusts the system. By month 2, it's abandoned. This is not a Claude Code problem. This is a Day-1 problem. The first hour you spend in any new project shouldn't be features. It should be the safety net that lets you sleep. I'm going to walk you through the exact 38-minute ritual I run before any client work starts. 4 files. No Docker. No CI/CD theater. Just the boring stuff that keeps small business automations alive. Minute 0 to 8. The environment and secrets file. Open the project, create a .env file at the root, and immediately add it to git ignore. This sounds obvious. Half the repos I audit for new clients have API keys committed to GitHub. Inside .end, I use one pattern across every project I ship. 3 blocks. Block 1 is credentials, API keys, database URLs, webhook secrets. Block 2 is environment flags. Is this production or development? What's the log level? What's the time zone? Block 3 is feature toggles, things I want to flip on and off without redeploying. Then I create a second file called .env example with the same keys but empty values. That file does get committed. It's the contract for anyone, including future me, who clones this repo. Next to it, I create a config.py or config.js, depending on stack, and that file is the only place in the entire project that reads environment variables. Nothing else touches .end directly. If I need a value somewhere, I import it from config. This means when a key changes, I change it in one place. When Claude Code edits the project later, I can tell it in plain English, never read environment variables outside config. And it respects that, because I've made the structure obvious. Minute 8 to 18, the logger and error capture. This is where most weekend-built apps die. They print to console and call it a day. The moment that app runs unattended, those prints vanish into nothing. So I drop in a logger module. About 40 lines. It writes to a rotating log file with date stamps. It formats every entry with a timestamp, a severity level, and the function name. And critically, it wraps the whole thing in a try except at the top of every entry point. When something crashes, I want the full traceback in the log, not a silent exit. For client projects that handle money, invoicing, billing, anything where a missed run costs real euros. I also wire the logger to send critical errors to a Telegram channel. Costs nothing, takes 4 lines using the bot API, and means I get a phone notification the second something explodes at 3 in the morning. The pattern is the same every time. 1 logger module. Import it everywhere. Never print again. Over 3 months of running this in production, this single pattern has saved me roughly 6 hours of debugging. I would have spent staring at a black terminal trying to reproduce a bug. Minute 18 to 28, the health check and cron ping. Here's the thing about a small automation. If it runs every 15 minutes and you don't watch it, you have no idea if it stopped running 30 hours ago. So I add a health check. For a web app, it's a /health endpoint that returns a JSON blob with the current time, the app version, and a status OK. For a script that runs on a cron, I have it write a timestamp to a heartbeat file at the end of every successful run. Then I set up a free external pinger, uptime robot, or a similar service, to hit that endpoint or check that file every 5 minutes. If it doesn't get a response, it sends me an email and a Telegram message. Total setup time, maybe 8 minutes. Total cost, 0. This is the difference between knowing your automation is alive and assuming it's alive. For a client running a small invoicing workflow, this single feature is what makes them trust the system enough to stop checking it manually. The whole point of automation is that they stop looking. Health check makes that possible. Minute 28 to 35. The one command deploy script. I am not setting up Docker for a 4-file Python app that runs on one server. I'm not configuring GitHub Actions. I'm writing a bash file called deploy.sh. It does 5 things. It pulls the latest from Git. It installs any new dependencies. It runs database migrations if there are any. It restarts the systemd service. It tails the last 20 lines of the log so I see immediately if anything broke. That's it. Maybe 15 lines of bash. I make it executable. And now deploying is one command. When Claude Code suggests changes, I review them. Commit, push, SSH, in, run deploy. Done. The reason this matters: if deploying is painful, you stop deploying. If you stop deploying, you stop iterating. If you stop iterating, the automation slowly drifts away from what the business actually needs. A one-command deploy keeps the feedback loop tight. Minute 35 to 38, the CLAUDE.md anchor. This is the file that makes Claude Code respect everything we just built on every future prompt. In the project root, I create CLAUD inside. I write, in plain English, the rules. Always read configuration from the conflict module, never from .md directly. Always log errors through the logger module, never use print. Every new endpoint must update the health check. Deploys go through deploy.sh. Do not suggest alternate deployment paths. I list the 4 files we just created and explain what each one is for. From that moment on, every time Claude Code opens this project, it reads CLAUD.md first. It treats those rules as binding. New features get built on top of the safety net instead of going around it. This is the file that turns a one-time setup into a permanent standard. Now the result. Across 3 live apps running on one home server, 1 handling invoice generation for a small business, 1 running an inbox to Telegram operations bot, 1 running a lead intake pipeline. None have gone down silently in the last quarter. When something breaks, I know within 5 minutes because the health check told me. When I need to fix it, I have logs that show me exactly what happened. When I push the fix, deploy is 1 command. Total setup time per project, 38 minutes. Total time saved versus debugging blind in production, I stopped counting after the first month. If you'd rather skip the 38 minutes and have someone set this foundation up on your project the right way the first time, that is literally day 1 of every engagement we run. You can see the kind of automations and integrations we ship for small businesses and ops teams at BizflowAI.io. While you're here, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next breakdown lands in your feed. And if you have a workflow you want automated without the month to collapse, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io.